Hello and welcome to the final round. We already have result on board one. Mats and Max already drew their game. It was a short game. They played a Sicilian, bishop e5 check, and we have this typical Marok's bind structure. White not worried about any knight discovery, because well, the queen will just go back to d3 and there's no knight takes anything. So queen to d3 right here, b3, knight g4, queen e2, queen e8 and h3 with a draw offer. So white is, well, obviously slightly better because of this base advantage, but black is also very solid. But seems like the players were happy to share the point, and this means that the door is now open for Ragnarlanda to win, but he needs to win with the black pieces against Kukes. Judging by their current position, if we check it out here, that could be difficult because Kukes has the bishop here, and Ragnarlanda is a long way away from utilizing the damaged pawn structure on the king side. In fact, white may be the one to benefit from it, from some kind of maneuvering and using the g-file. White can always play f4 if he needs to, and he's able to shore up the light squares again if he needs to. So most likely Mats and Max will share the full point, share the lead. So it's going to come down to tiebreaks for the title, most likely. And I think Mats is doing slightly better on the tiebreaks. We, however, also have a few guys that can catch up, including Alexander Fier and Fabian Libicevsky. However, as we can see on the webcam, they also, on this one, board 4 is empty, because they already drew. And I would venture to say that we didn't miss anything since they drew rather early. But let's have a quick look. Fabi did play the King's Indian though. e4 d6, fianchetto King's Indian, took an f3, bishop e3, queen e7, h5 by Fabi, knight a4, king h7 and rook to d2 with a draw over in an otherwise rather dry position. And actually many people might even take black here, go for some kind of bishop trade, maybe bishop h6, exchange the darks with bishops, try to at some stage trade off the knights and then play for a strong knight on d4. Could be one strategical idea. So black probably has no problems at all. I think the computer says 0.0 here, and they agree to a draw. Other games that have finished, for instance, Thomas Villiers drew against Steingrimsson, and I think White was doing better in the final position. That's probably the reason why Black offered the draw. White sacks a pawn here, probably a well-known idea, and actually White is enjoying a decent advantage here. Bishop g6, bishop c4, bishop b6, very active pieces, f4. So it's kind of I guess, a strange position to agree to a draw in. But he then took an f3 here and offered the draw. And, well, apparently, according to the post-game analysis, bishop takes f3 is not a good move, but okay. I mean, g4 is threatened, so understandably he's worried about the bishop. But I think the main problem is it's hard for the king to find shelter. So black escapes here with a draw. Thomas Beardson has drawn his game. Casa has won. Did his opponent not show up, or did they actually play? They actually played, so let's see what happened in Casa Corley's game. Casa, yeah, he probably has 5.5, so he'll reach 6.5. The group with 6.5 is Fabi, Pragnananda. Well, actually Casa. That's a brilliant result for Casa. No, I'm sorry. He already finished this game, so that's why he has 6.5 here. But okay, he has the white pieces here. We play the Fian Schutter Grunfeld, but no knight c3, so e4 is possible. Castles. Knight e to c3. Unusual play here by Casa. He's kind of known for that, you know. Likes to go on his own paths. e5 is kind of weird. I mean, black's pawn structure is solid. Why give up the d5 square? Now the other knight comes into the game. Bishop e3. a4. Nice positional domination by white, who despite being down a pawn seems to be completely controlling the position. Knight b8, knight b5. Now knight c7 is available. It's an extremely poor game here by black, to be honest. These moves e5 and knight b8. Looks like he was just not completely all there today and lost in 22 moves. Well, Jarmola can't win, but he can certainly get a good prize. He has 6 points. But let's actually see who can catch up. So Gukesh can win if he wins. Yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. There are a lot of bishop b5 Sicilians. Much more than the open Sicilian, definitely. Yeah, Anna Kramling, her opponent, I think didn't show up, so she doesn't have a game. Yeah, so only Praga can win. Oh yeah, actually a lot of people with 6 points here. So this opens the door for Hjörvar with black against Lukas Jarmola. Yeah, actually Jarmola can catch up, I'm sorry. Because I'm looking at the standings with so many games finished, I was a little bit confused. But Jarmola has 6 points, and him or Hjörvar Gretarsson, they can join the leaders with a win. And also Itane Puya and Abhi Manu Mishra can join the leaders. All of those will have poor tie breaks, but Lukas Jarmola probably has decent tie breaks after having been on the top for a while. And finally Gukesh, also with a win, can join the leaders. So we might have, well, we'll have a minimum of a 3-way tie, but possibly 4-way, even a 5-way tie for the lead. There was one game that caught my eye, and that game might actually be over, and it is over. Hans Niemann won in crushing fashion against local grandmaster Þröstur Þórðarson. Ginger GM not faring well against Justin. Yeah, I saw the opening, and it seems like if a play does not show up, it's a forfeit, and no rating is lost, and no rating is gained. Yeah, Ginger GM. Thank you, Blair. Thank you, Blair. Ginger GM. I was walking by his board earlier, and looked like he sacrificed a pawn, probably in a dubious manner. But okay, here is Hans Niemann's game. Black is trying to be a little bit inventive here on the queen side, especially here Queen A5, but Hans now just castles. Sacrificing a pawn because if you take on C3, we'll take this, take this, but the queen is a little bit stranded, and white has a big lead in development, so Þröstur opted for knight d6, but this allows a crossing blow that Hans Niemann found. A very nice move. Knight takes d5, and this just crashes through. D takes c5 was played. Þröstur tried to close the diagonal with knight b7, knight e5 now, just lining up more pieces against the d5 pawn. Rook a7, and this allows this another crushing blow, taking on f7, followed by taking on b8, hitting the rook. Þröstur tried to get pieces out. Bishop takes c5, sacking the exchange, but Niemann wasn't even having that. Queen e5 check, rook d1, more pieces into the attack, and this looks like just a very nice miniature by Niemann. Now he takes the exchange, and bishop takes b7. It seems like more or less anything wins, but this of course opens the way for rook d8 check, so black was signed a crushing game by Hans Niemann. Let's have a quick look at Simon. Well, white has landed a monster knight here on e6, but he has sacrificed the exchange. Let's see. We had, it was a check Benoni. Check Benoni, knight b7. I played too many check Benonis. I've got a certain amount of disgust at this point for this opening on black's behalf. So f4 by Simon. I think this is about where he sacked a pawn. Queen h4, f5 by Sarkar, knight f6 by Simon, and now f4 by white. So it looks like Simon is hoping white takes, so he gets a nice e5 square for his pieces, but white is forcing black to take on f4, rook h3, kicking the queen away. Yeah, probably e takes f4 was somewhat suspect. And here he sacks the exchange. Bishop d4 check first, then he takes. Knight takes f4, knight f6, and then knight to e6. Yeah, winning the exchange back. It's not that we can take on e6 and then white gets a strong pawn. There's actually a discovered attack on the queen, so doesn't look too good on for Simon here. To see the boards, you can go to chess24. You can look at follow chess on your phone. You can go to lead chess. You can go to chess.com events. You can do a number of things. Yeah, Niemann is very, very tricky. I mean, just the usual site. It's relatively easy to find live boards these days. Quick look at my friend Vignir, who is winning rather easily, it seems. What opening was this? A modern Benoni. White went g3. She had a game in this earlier where I thought she didn't play too well, but managed to not lose it, so perhaps Wigner thought he could take advantage of that. And here is just so why can't we take on a1 because of rook a to b8? It's nasty. Simply here and GG. And it's the a rook, so we can control e4 and not allow the bishop there. So because of this tactic, it's basically lost for white. Basically more or less lost. I know Edmund Player was very excited about playing Oleg Romnison, and he plays a Rui Lopez here and seems to be doing quite fine. Well, let's look at the top boards. After all, the tournament will be decided in these games. And let's actually see how this position in Pragnananda against Gukesh, Gukesh with white actually, Gukesh against Pragnananda. d4 knight f6, c4 e6 knight c3 bishop e4, the names are Indian, e3 bishop d3 d5, Gukesh took, queen to c2, d6 b4, which seemingly stops c5, but black plays it anyway. We have trades, and now black has this isolated pawn on d5, which can't be a problem. Castles bishop g4, and white simply allows black to take on f3, which he does. And now white is counting on the bishop pair being the important factor here. He now gets the pawn on d5 though, so we're going to have some trades. Are you welcome, John? Simon is a good friend, and he's also a very interesting chess player. It's always interesting to look at his games. So he's trying to make things interesting. So knight takes d5, we have rook takes, and it's Gukesh to move. And he can actually take on d5 and just be up a pawn. That's something he might do. He might also go back to a4 with his bishop. Anna isn't playing, her opponent didn't show up, which is rather annoying. But it happens. I think we have Eric Rosen on the demonstration boards. He didn't have the best of times yesterday, but managed to win. Let's check out Eric Rosen. Altiban having a tournament to forget. And maybe he isn't even doing well here against Dmitry Minko. 2298. Can we just take on? Okay, this maybe gets him out of hot water, because now he can maybe take with a bishop, and after h3 play e5. But maybe we could have taken on e6 first, when black's structure is at least questionable. So Adiban struggling pretty heavily. Eric is way down on board 27. And he's playing against the Ukrainian Icelander Alexander Domalchuk Jonasson. Alexander is an international name. It's a name that's also used in Iceland. Domatsuk is his Ukrainian name, and then Jonasson is last name as well. Jonas being his father. The Skook is trying to do a Prague, similar opening when Prague won a nice game. Yeah, not very dissimilar. Prague played bishop d2 early. That's probably the main. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I follow Simon, and Charlie the chess cat. Yeah, I mean Eric looks solid. Nothing wrong with White's position, obviously. Just a normal move, like I don't know, h3 and just make some luft. Maybe play for b4, b5 at some stage. Yeah, Adiban hasn't been a beast. Having an off tournament. That happens to everybody. You have a tournament where seemingly just nothing goes your way. Okay, let's have a look at Lukas Jarmula against Hjerosted. Important game for both, because they can actually catch up to the leaders, which would be pretty nice. And I think, yeah, technically you get your name as a joint winner, although, you know, there's officially always a winner on tiebreaks. So we have a Sicilian, finally an open one. And here we're sticking to his time on off, even though he lost pretty badly. I think it was against Niemann. Hans Niemann. Okay, Hans. This all looks yeah, reasonably fairly standard. I mean, a few pieces are perhaps off their normal squares, such as the queen of b8, bishop e6, g5, knight d7, intending at some stage probably 95. Well, immediately actually. b5 looks like a semi-standard Sicilian in many ways. White now castles queenside, and we are going to have a fight. White on the king side, black probably on the queen side. Queen c7, rook h3, flexible rook on the third rank, king b1, rook c8, and we have to do something about the c2 pawn, so white played c3, queen d7, hitting the rook, rook h2, black now took, and white took on a6. And black now played queen g4, which is, well, probably a strong, well, actually the rook is covering c2, which I thought, well, otherwise we would have played c2 immediately. But what happens if I just take this guy? Well, he took on e5, so it doesn't matter. But let's see what happens if he simply takes on a6, or on c8, sorry. Do we first take on f4 and claim that we're hitting the rook and we're hitting the bishop, and you can't save both at the same time? That seems to be it. But okay, instead he took on e5. And then I'm guessing we have to flick in rook c5, followed by taking on e5. And black is probably doing quite okay there, because we're going to take back on e5. Let's say, for instance, here, probably d takes e5. Could be rook takes e5 possibly. Could be rook takes e5 also. But something like this. I mean, the position looks a little bit more open when it comes to the white king. And if we take on c3, Maybe rook b8 check. If you allow black to take, then you know the bishop could become a monster on d4 in the future. But just because black's king looks safer, I think black would be doing well here. Let's quickly actually update the position. Yeah, this happened, rook c5. So Fjordar probably doing quite okay here. The other game on the stage we haven't looked at, that's Idanipuya against Abhimanyu Mishra. And that looks also like it was a Sicilian. Najdorf or Nashdorf, somebody said. Everybody says Najdorf. Okay, white took an e6, so and g7. So black needs to drum up some play here. Yeah, Fischer played at least some large openings. He has a famous game against Ulf Andersson. A very nice game, which turned into a headsock, and Fischer demonstrated a very nice plan. This was actually one of the questions I had on the Reykjavik Open pub quiz. Queen, bishop g5, and Mishra castles. So now that his king is safe, and white is flicking his rooks all across the board, I think it's time to ask a question here. What is white doing with his king on e1? If black now starts to get active, and he also has a nice center, one has to start asking, is the king safe? The eternal question in chess, is your king safe? Okay, Mishra probably has good compensation here, and he might even be able at some stage to pick up a pawn on a5. Not right now. Well, actually, maybe he might be threatening to do it soon. Yeah, b3 is the kind of move that I think most people have played from time to time. I played it in a few tournament games. In all cases, when I just wanted to play and avoid any opening theory. But these days, even b3 is getting theoretical, as witnessed by the number of, for instance, chessable courses that were pointed out in chat earlier. Shall we see? Well, Siebert is up on port 14. He must have won yesterday. Rook e1. We can play bishop d3. So both sides have a dangerous passed pawn. But if we both queen it and we have to sack a rook, at the end of it, black will be up a pawn. So I guess the question is, can black convert? It's nice to see Siebert going back to his old favorite, King's Indian. He used to play the King's Indian a lot, but then he switched over to a semi-Slav. But looks like he's playing the King's Indian every now and then. And knight f3, he's playing knight a6, which is a functional, not exactly a side line, but not the pure main line, but certainly something that. Oh, it was actually a 4-pawn. Yeah, I missed that. Okay, that makes it different. Okay, knight a6 against the 4-pawn is fairly standard. Simon, how are you getting on? 96, queen to h4, and white might take this, and he might also just not take it and fling some pieces of the board, like the bishop with tempo. Interesting. Yeah, definitely worst for Simon. Yeah, there's a famous game where Larsen got spanked against Spassky. Some rook h1 at the end. Let's go back to Gukesh and Praka. Gukesh away from the board. And simply enjoying an extra pawn he took on d5 here. And simply retreated with the bishop. Knight b6 by Praga. So now it's just a question if white can convert. I mean, he can safely at some stage play f4 and use the bishop on the light squares. So this will be a question of if white can convert or not. He has an extra pawn. And black has almost nothing to show for it. No counterplay. So black will just try to hold on in this position. Yes. We get something to drink. Here we go. That didn't sound too good, did it? Oops. Oh fuck. No fudge. Crikey. Okay. We got things sorted out. I don't know. Yeah, okay. This has been in the freezer for so long. It was actually full of ice, sparkling water. So when I opened it, it just, yeah, exploded. Slightly over my computer, which I hope is okay. But otherwise we're okay. Clean up on aisle 4. But as compensation, the sparkling water is extremely cold. So queen e5, queen d2, and we don't have perhaps the most exciting position, but it's also very clear. Like I said, can white convert or not? He has an extra pawn. And just thinking long term, I don't know if how easy or difficult it is. White needs to get very organized. He needs to take care of the king, and eventually he needs to push the pawns. But how far? Maybe f4, f5. I guess we push the f pawn. I think I made this move. It wasn't made. And then we probably push to f5, and we make black make a decision. Do you want us to play f6, or do you want to stop it? If you stop it with f6, you create light square weaknesses. And then we can try to maneuver the bishop, get it on the diagonal, perhaps on this square. Get it more organized, and then start pushing the other pawns. That's something that can definitely happen. Meanwhile, did he play f4 though? No, I didn't. Meanwhile, Mishra has won a piece. How did that happen? Okay, so he castled queenside. Puya took an f6. Played rook f7. Bishop d2, putting pressure on d5, although it's not doing anything at the moment. e4, rook f5, more pressure on d5 now. We're trying to take. But rook h f8, and we're just saying we don't care if you move the rook away. There's mate on f2. And here he took on e4. And black just took back. So even though the queen is hanging, which we not took, your queen is hanging as well, and at the end of it you lose the knight that you took with on e4. You do get this pawn on e4, but this is also getting into a similar situation as board 2. Can white convert or not? Sorry, black. Can black convert or not? I mean, white has 2 pawns there. We can obviously immediately take on f2, which he does. And then it's a question of conversion. One thing that's in black's favor is that the rook pawn is on a dark square, so there will be no defense based on a sacrifice there. And Puya takes on c6. Now the defensive technique of modern grandmasters has gotten very good. So I'm sure he might have some type of fortress in mind. For instance, if you put your, let's say you just put your rook on c4. Okay, you played c3. Let's say here, and you put your rook on c4, and let's just give up the pawn there, for argument's sake. I mean, how easy is it for black to make progress here? I'm not sure. I guess at some point we'd have to play c5. Yeah, c5 definitely. But then we can maybe just repeat, try to put the king on, perhaps on a4 if possible. Which is probably possible, because if we couldn't put it on a4, there would be pressure on c3. So black can't combine the pressure on c3 and then playing c5 with the bishop protecting it. I don't know, this could be something that white can try, maybe. So the door is wide open for Hjörvar, and actually might be very wide open. So after we saw the sequence here with queen b3, d takes on e5, and now b4. Hjörvar played rook c6 and bishop to b7. Bishop doesn't have a lot of squares, and now we're just trying to take on b4. Bishop d5 will probably be played. We're going to take on b4. And the thing I talked about, this monster bishop on d4, it might just become a reality really quickly. And then black is definitely doing quite well. And it would be nice for Hjörvar to get a nice result in this tournament. He's been after a very good year. He's had kind of a down year. He was over 2600, but now he's all the way down to 2542. It would be fantastic to see him start to climb up a little bit again. He's already gaining 6 points this tournament, so if he wins this game, he's up to over 10 points, which is always very nice. Probably more than closer to 12 actually. So that way he he will edge towards the rating he wants to have. Somebody said Eric's opponent is burning time. Yeah, on the 8th board we have battle of two players that lost yesterday, and they seem to be heading towards a relatively quiet day, probably. Relatively quiet. Vignir has won his game. He had the extra exchange. Vignir didn't have the best of tournaments. Yeah, we already looked at this, but okay. But okay. Yeah, the c-pawn. Just combining threats. It's too difficult for white. Yeah, c-pawn to the pawn on a4. No, Itan Puya is still playing. You can see on the camera on the right. He's playing against Mishra. Just checking if there are some interesting results. Benedikt Briem beat Simon Thoraldsson. Benedikt Briem has been progressing very nicely in this tournament. Here we have the black pieces, and we see the same line we saw on the top board. Interesting, but he doesn't play d4. Yeah, we just looked at Tanya. It was a rather dry position. We can quickly look at it again. Yeah, nice knight on d4 here for Benedikt. And now white goes for an all-out attack here, sacrificing a piece. Actually a second piece, and it's simply too much. It's too much, chat. It's just too much. Yeah, something went wrong there for Simon, definitely. Yeah, like I said, we just looked at Kornet and Sakhchev. And rook takes c5. C will take on c6. And it's starting to look a little bit dry. But she did lose an endgame yesterday that she should have drawn. And the endgame against Stinkerson the round before that was quite up and down. So this looks fantastic for Hjörvar. Absolutely fantastic. The only thing to watch out for is some back rank business. Queen trade is being offered, which I don't think Hero will go for it, just because of the weakness of the king. So maybe Queen F4, hitting this guy, or even Queen F3, just keeping the pressure on this one. Either one looks fine, Blacks will be doing great. So let's take a short break and leave the Gukesh game on here. So we'll be right back. Oh yeah. And we're back after a good, a good visit to Tepla við Pávan, as we say in Iceland. So what's going on here? Not much has changed. Gukas is starting to push his pawns. And eventually he will try something, but there's no rush. Like the Russians say, Karpov would never play the winning plan immediately. He would take his time, sort of, hang on to the position before doing anything too drastic. Like I said before the break, Black's main problem is lack of counterplay, definitely. Well, I'm wondering if we should go for a white shirt instead of a black one. Maybe. We'll think about it after the round, right? So queen trade offered by Gukas. So he's trusting himself to convert the pawn in a pure endgame. And I guess his reasoning is that with the queens off, he can use his king, and he doesn't have to worry about his king side being compromised. So I'm guessing that's his main idea with offering a queen trade. Meanwhile, there's a lot of buzz now in the Icelandic chess community because Hjörvar Gretarsson appears to be winning his game against Lukas Jarmula. And if he does, which it looks like, he would be one of the joint winners, which is fantastic news. We haven't had a winner for a while. Hannes Stefansson has of course done very well over the years in this tournament. He's not playing this year and hasn't won it for a while. Hjörvar will not do well on tiebreak since he took a bye in the second round. But he is among the winners, and he's a co-winner, and we're very, very happy about that. But let's not jinx it too much, and let's see how easy the win actually is. So, like I mentioned way back when he took on e5, I wanted to take with a pawn, exactly for this reason that I had envisioned that this bishop would become somewhat of a monster here on d4. Gensuna. And it looks like, that's what has happened. So bishop e3, last move played. The next course of action is to make progress. How can we use this situation here on the queen side? Maybe we can start with maybe this move, just to protect stuff, and then we can freely move our queen. Probably the queen needs to keep an eye on d5, sorry, on e4 from d5, so we can't take the pawn. Then we can start harassing. Perhaps we can start harassing the h pawn. Although I'm not sure we want to take it. But the winning plan might be something like... well, first of all, there's probably no rush, because this rook can never move because of pawn to c2. Bishop probably can't move either because rook b2. So once we play something like rook b7, let's just play it, put it on the board. We should be able to just maneuver the queen, either queen here or queen here. And probably just bring it around, and then after we made Luft, maybe take on b3 becomes a possibility. followed by queen a6 and rook a8. And that looks pretty much like GG. So for instance, let's just say white does nothing. We just in case we make Luft. So white is doing nothing. We make Luft just in case. Yeah, we'd have to do it probably with the king on a1. So probably rook takes b3 works here. So I think that's one of the main ideas. And white would have to sacrifice the queen on a8 because otherwise he gets checkmated. So I think that's the main plan. If Gukesh wins, who will win the tournament? If Gukesh wins, as we go to their camera, if Gukesh wins, he's tying the leaders Mats Andersen and Max Varmerdam. In what looks like it might be a top 4, maybe even top 5. It's already guaranteed to be a top 3 with Mats, Max, and either Gukesh or Praga. If it is a draw, it's going to be Praga. If Gukesh wins, it's going to be Gukesh. And then Mishra and Gretarsson are likely to join. Mishra has an extra piece. He's trying to convert. Maybe it's not super easy to convert. Well, let's have a look at that one as well. Let's actually first check out Gukesh and Praga. And Praga did not accept the queen trade. He played rook d8 and now queen c7. Yeah, I mean, not much has changed. And this game might go on for a bit. Very important game, obviously, for Gukesh. But the question is, can the young Abhimanyu Mishra win this position? If he does, he is also the co-winner and would add to his already impressive resume, which includes being the youngest grandmaster ever, and probably currently the youngest GM, I would venture to guess. I'm just thinking how we make progress here. Maybe we can play. This might end up rook and bishop against rook, possibly. Why can't we just play something like c5 here? It's actually white to move. Let's say white just waits. Okay, play rook h7. If c5, now white plays b5. We have to unpin first, probably. But if we unpin, he makes a check. Well, let's just, for argument's sake, say we do something like this. Although I don't like it, really. But I'm just trying to find some idea to make progress. Is c5 an idea now? For instance. And on b5, we can probably just take it and take on a5. Although we risk the white king maybe becoming active. We can probably block it like this. But how do we make progress? That's a difficult question. Maybe something like this, threatening a check. It's not super easy, but definitely possible. Definitely possible. So I guess we go back to Hjörvar. That's the game that's most likely to finish pretty quickly. And right now he has taken on b3. He didn't need to do it right away, but he did nonetheless. Bishop b3, just took it and took on e4. And still the problem kind of remains for white that he can't move his rook on account of c2. And I guess the immediate threat is just to give this check. And I think if we, okay, let's say here, and if we interpose something like queen b7 or something, or queen somewhere on the diagonal, let's say here, and white struggles because of this, let's say something like this, here, and well, actually now we can maybe take on c3. Ah, we can also just go back to a4. No, we need to actually find another way. He didn't need to take right away on b3. I'm a little bit surprised he did that too early. So okay, it's not immediately made, but still should be very good for black. Equal material, but white has a very hard time dealing with threats. So maybe we should just get the queen on. If we refresh the position. So I have to go back and forth like this. Maybe check and come to d5. It's a better square. Yeah, white is holding on for a bit here. Let's check out Gukesh and Praka here. Last move was h6. Now why can't I take on a7? Why and why not? Is Praka trying to get some counterplay here? He's made a move. And he took the pawn. He took the pawn. So now it's up 2 pawns. So things are getting interesting. Yeah, black needs to find some counterplay fast, otherwise this is escalating out of hand here for Pragnananda. Let's just really quickly browse through some of the other games. Tanya with yet another endgame that should be holdable. Harry Grief, Christopher Yu, we haven't looked at this one at all. Seems like dynamically balanced, not much going on. Masi against Dietmar Kolbus. Masi should be winning this one with a pass pawn. Otherwise, black might be able to sacrifice here, but I think the extra pass pawn would make the difference there. Let's check in with our friend Simon. Simon says he's only done a pawn. That's the good news. That's the good news. The bad news is his queen doesn't have a square really. But then some more good news is that white can't really capture it because of takes. And black actually wins. So the rook must now move somewhere. Either e2 or c2 seems like the most likely. People are saying Tanya. Yeah, Tanya already drew, so that's a good result for her. She had to find tournament.
As usual.
As usual. Okay, but let's stick to the 3 games that will determine who will join Mats and Max. as Hjörvar tries to find a way to finish this game. There's plenty of time, 8 minutes. Only needs to make 4 more moves, so that shouldn't be a problem. Should not be a problem. Okay, first White needs to make a move. Unfortunately for White, he is in kind of a zugzwang. This rook can't move because of c2 check. The other rook can't move because of queen takes c2. Yes, Erik Rosen is playing an Icelandic player, an Icelandic Ukrainian player. Dómaldur Jónasson. Yeah, Hero should win this. Let's briefly check in. Let's see how they're getting on. Everybody loves to see Erik Rosen. Well, when I went on break, I saw this position. White played queen c2, and Rosen is actually hanging on to the pawn for now. And White's position, king position, is a little bit weak here. So nice rook maneuver here by Rosen, followed by introducing the other rook. And now he wants to get the queen into the game. Most likely White will take on d8. And unfortunately can't take the c pawn because the f2 pawn needs to be kept under lock and key. Well, needs to be protected. So let's say we play b4. I'm wondering how and if black increases the pressure. Probably just take and move the knight. But we don't need to worry about any. We probably want to move the knight closer to the king side. We don't have to worry about. Well, first of all, the jack is covered by the queen, and also I think we can safely just go here if we are checked. So Erik seems to be doing really well. Should win this game. My friend Björn Thorfinnsson, he's always playing either young kids or Icelandic players. He might have to take the perpetual here against his 2000 rated, very young opponent. Unless he can find some tricky mate. Can we go rook h1, going for mate? I guess we can, maybe. Wait, so is black in trouble here? Is black facing problems? Because king here, then maybe rook d to d2. When we threaten mate in 2, so probably we have to take on f4. Still threatening mate. So we have to probably save ourselves like this. Now the check is interposed. Sem enga lætin. Now the check is interposed. And the game goes on. Although I suspect White must be doing very well here. Okay. Back to Hjörvar. Is Jurmala finding a move? Well, Jarmula actually. Jurmala is a city in Latvia. I just learned that in the 1985 Jurmala Open, Mikael Kurovic was the winner along with Mikael Tal. Okay, queen a8. Yeah, White played h5 and now queen a8 by Hjörvar and queen a4 by Jarmula. So maybe I kind of want the queen here, but unfortunately we can't easily make luft, because I just want to go here and win the b3 pawn, but I want to take it with the rook, not the queen. So we might need some luft here. Unfortunately, g6 is met with h6 and h6 with g6. So no luft. So where does Hjörvar put the queen? Where to put the queen? And why? Hjörvar has 4 minutes to decide. Oops, queen f4, yeah. Gukesh and Praga. So we took an a7. Praga tried to activate his knight, knight d5. Bishop f1, queen g6, jack. Bishop d2, knight c3. And rook f1. So we're a long way away from creating threats for black here. But we have made white's pieces rather passive here. So at least there's something going for Praga. And this defense here, yeah, actually very important defense for Praga to hold on here, to stay in the leader pack, become one of the co-winners. Reykjavik. Open. Winners. It's actually a nice Wikipedia entry where you can see all the former winners. And we have actually had an outright winner in recent years, it seems. We have to go way back to 2013 when Elyanov So and Amin Basim shared the lead. Before that, Fabiano Caruana won in 2012. So we had some, noteworthy winners like Anis Kiri and Fabiano Caruana in the last 10 years. And we have to go all the way back to 2010 when we last had an Icelandic co-winner. That was Hannes Stefansson. And we have to go all the way back to the year 2000 to have an outright Icelandic winner, which was also Hannes Stefansson. He's actually, I think, a 4th, maybe 5-time winner. He is a 5-time winner of this tournament. Which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive, I must say. Must say. Okay, Praga tries to activate. Get the rook into the game. It would be super cool if the rook could be on g6 and on d6 at the same time. If it was on g6 and on d6, we could take this. Let's say here, because if king takes, obviously we take with the bishop now, but if we had to take with the king, we would be mated. So we don't even have a sneaky trick. We need an extra rook for that to be a trick. So yeah, very hard to see Praga drumming up anything in this position. So young Mishra, is he making progress? Plays king c8. King to c8. Again, the only pawn break is c5, so I suspect, he's trying to organize this c5 break and then take on a5. And hope that, the c pawn can can save the day. That is, if white goes b5. Otherwise, he'd have to count on the a-pawn. Unfortunately, there are too many pieces here for the table pieces to work. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay, well, it's 10, so we need 3 pieces off the board. So actually, the line we looked at earlier in the broadcast, something like this. Oops, takes is 3 pieces off the board. So here the table base can actually tell us. And this is winning for black. So theoretically winning, but can he make it happen? That's always the big question. Let's go back to Hero because very exciting game. Yeah, don't. Hero is struggling to find a way forward. I'm not too sure he should have captured right away on b3 like he did. He could have set it up a little bit better, I think. There's no rush because white couldn't really do anything. And still he can't do much, but what does black do next? And we always have to be careful about white sacrificing on c3. This position would be a lot easier if we could make luft, that's for sure. So what about something like queen f3 maybe? Just intended to grab that h-pawn so that we can make luft. Could be an idea. But yeah, they just reached the time control. Let's see. The last few moves were queen a8 check, queen b7, king b1, rook a8, and rook c8. So Hero must now take his time, which he now has, to try to find the best way forward. So it's not as good as it was earlier. And I'm not sure why he actually took on b3 as, like I said, there was no rush. Why not just rook 4 to b7, protect everything, improve the queen, maybe make the luft here, g6. It will make all the difference. All the difference, because white can't move anything. So it was perhaps a little bit too fast here with rook takes b3. But still, should be doing well still. How far is Fischer's grade from the playing menu? About 40-45 minutes. Forty, 45 minutes. Okay, let's get the current position. Yeah, this Jurmala guy, he's Jarmula actually, sorry. He's a tricky customer, so hopefully he has found his last trick in this tournament and will not be able to hold. Okay, so a5, rook g6. Gukesh simply played king h1. Are there any tricks here? There's one trick, and that is if we play a move like knight d1. Oh, we actually had moves. So here we are, queen d4. So king h1. So this is at least an attempt at a trick. Let's say we play a move like queen a8, and let's say we play a move like, I don't know. Okay, a6 is obviously hanging, but Let's just say queen b7, tending to hit this pawn. Then you run into queen takes f1, bishop takes f1, and knight takes f2. So this is at least an attempt at a trick, but after king h1, black played king h7. I'm actually going to refresh and get the current position. Holy moly! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? White had to play bishop f. This is a horrible blunder. How does he defend f2? Are we joking? Pragga's gonna win outright. We've literally been prepping. Jesus Christ. Wow, this is. I just had to break the news to some people. This is very upsetting. What a turnaround. And this means we have a sole winner, and it's Pragnananda. And yeah, just look at Kuka. He's just distraught. And this means that chess is indeed brutal. Wow, are you kidding? Was he in time? Yeah, he must have been in some time trouble. Because this is an unbelievable blunder. Unbelievable. I'm not sure if the last move was made. I didn't see it. Probably just resigned. This is unreal. Oh, poor guy. I feel for him. He goes from being the champion to basically, well, probably not even getting prizes. But we have a winner. Pragnananda, after a shocking turn of events, is the winner here. This is unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Horrible stuff. Just about as dramatic as it gets. Pragga wins. This is unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. Shit. Pardon my language. Unreal stuff. And Kukas is still distraught. I mean, it's understandable. Wow. Æ, ég veit ekki. Ég er live sko. Hvað gerist? Yeah, Prague Island wins the tournament after this unbelievable blunder. He was one of the 3 leaders before the round, so. But for such a long time now, it has looked like it was a battle who would be the joint winners. But unreal stuff. This is one of the worst blunders, probably of Gukas' career. And now this means that if Abhimanyu Mishra is able to win, instead of writing his name in the history books, he's just getting a little bit of a fatter paycheck. So very disappointing. Same thing for Hjörvar. Looked like he was going to join the leaders and be the first Icelandic co-winner of the tournament since 2010. But that's also not happening. But fantastic result for Praga, and he kind of set it up with a very nice game yesterday against Matthew Cornett, one of the games of the tournament. Had an off day today, but at the end of it all, it didn't matter. Unbelievable. People are kind of just lost for words here. Wow. Unreal is the only word that comes to mind. In fact, yeah. I mean, articles were being written, and people were wondering how many co-winners we would have, but turns out it's only one. So we have a lot of extra bouquets then, I guess. Wow. Yeah, time travel was definitely a factor in this blunder. Yeah, Hjörvar still trying to find the way here, but the significance of his game has now dwindled. We only have one game left on the stage. This is unbelievable stuff. Okay, let's just put Mishra's game on while we take a short break to recover. The players just reached the time control, and they're likely to use a lot of time now, so we'll be back soon. Yeah, we have another game finished, and like Blair said, unreal may be the only word, but somehow it doesn't sum it up. It's true. Yeah, Gukesh was really upset, and he might even, probably he will not even get prizes. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and then some guys on 5.5. 8 already. Yeah, it's upsetting. Yeah, it's the last day. Thanks, Michael. Yeah. Wait, what happened in this one? So there was some progress made here. King C2. Sorry, I'm just gonna catch up. We saw King C8. Bishop D8. Yeah, this is saw King D7. So he's trying to advance here, and oh, did he just blunder mate? Ouch town. Ouch town. The king is hurting here because bishop C1. That rook here is coming. Can we defend somehow? Rook H1. Bishop C1. We'll probably have to play B5. So yeah, he's walking. Thanks, Blair. He's walking into mate here, so I thought this game would last a lot longer, but he should have found a nice way to finish it. So Hjörvar is fighting for, well, joint second now, and a higher prize. Harry Greaven, Christopher Yu. I think Yu can make it to possibly the top 10. But he will have to win this position, which looks reasonably equal. Yeah. Kasa Corley might have a chance to get some prizes. Justin Sarkar beat Simon Williams, and even he is now ahead of Gukesh. Brandon Clark I think he had a decent tournament. He has 6.5 as well. And Vladislav Larkin. Minko and Atiban drew, so this horrible tournament comes to an end for Bhaskar and Atiban. Only finished on 5.5 and probably lost a lot of rating. I'm not even gonna look it up. So right now, yeah, the only game that we kind of want to see to the end would be Hjörvar's game, but it has lost much of its charm, so to say. So Eric Rosen is trying to win here. Maybe he can put white in a bit of a pickle here. Yeah, I think the win is pretty nice. Here, and C2. Now the only way to solve the pawn is rook here. And then I want to try this. Because you can't take the pawn. But do I have a threat? I need a threat. Well, you can't take the pawn because of this being mined, as I call it. Can't go to G2. But you don't have to take on C2. But then you allow rook D2 and rook takes F2. Hang on a minute. Rook D2, king D2. Maybe I'm making this too difficult. Okay, E4, knight somewhere. Yeah, I'm at some stage I must win material here. Maybe even 91 already. King f1, rook d1. Then 92. Oh, this must work. Come on. King f1, rook d1. And then just queen. Okay, so Eric should be winning rather easily if he finds this idea. Irin Sukandar is also playing, and she is at least better, but is she winning? Can we take this and just run the pawn? We have to calculate if it takes the other one, but it looks good. And let's quickly check if Rosen made the move. Hasn't made the move, but knight f3 looks promising. Johan Hjartarson is still playing. I don't think he can. Yeah, he's only on 5 points, so he can't get any prize. But he will certainly win the game. Bishop c4 looks tempting, with big problems on the light squares here. Sigurbjörn, he has 5.5, and he's trying to win a queen and game himself a pawn. It will be tremendous for him to win that game. Gives him a slight chance, although I doubt his tiebreak will be good enough for a prize. Here I finally played g6, but that didn't really make any luft. Yeah, somebody asked what happened to Adban. I mean, Adban was he was at least close to 2700. I'm not sure if he was 2700, but he was very close. He won this tournament in 2018, but his tournament this year has been just horrendous, absolutely. Let's check out what. Let's check out the damage. What the hell is he? He has 5 points. He's in 51st before this round, and he drew. He's losing 17.5 points. 17.5 points, so he's down to 26-15. It's very disappointing, because he's a very, very good player and a very very inventive. Plays attacking chess, but he's not in top form, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm still. Okay, yeah, all the games on the stage are finished. So it's only basically here. But people are saying what happened to Adiban, and somebody said marriage. Marriage tends to drop you 100, 150 rating points, so it's quite possible. Yeah, still Hero is not finding a way to break through. It looks horrible for white, but at the moment he's holding on. So maybe Queen f5 to start winning pawns. Queen f5 takes. Yeah, people are waking up to the news. Oh man, Gukas was completely winning. Yes, indeed he was. Yeah, I was so surprised. I even wrote horribly instead of horrible, in horrible blunder. I wrote a tweet. I don't think you can add a tweet. Can you? Delete, pin, mute, change, reply. Yes. The tournament is coming to an end soon. We're just gonna wait on this game to see if Hjörvar moves up the ranks. Did you just fart?
Yeah.
I was kidding, he didn't, I was just pulling his leg. No, you can't do that to the president on live TV. Probably will be consequences. Yeah, I mean, he will definitely strike back. I mean, he's just too good not to. So we'll definitely see him fighting for 2700. But losing, close to 180 points from your peak is pretty hard. And I know some people like Hjörvar, Johan Sebastian Christensen, and others have struggled with that. But you just have to fight back. Eventually, if the strength is there, you should get back to where you belong. God lift us up where we belong. I honestly don't know how we make progress. For instance, queen here. It's not our move even, so this can be prevented by rook f1, or also by queen c7, just attacking the rook. Well, queen here actually, well, it hangs this, but how do we protect the back rank and our rook? That would be one way to, what, maybe here? Threatening mate, but we can take. No, white can actually get a perpetual now. I mean black, sorry, yeah. And check. That's not how Hjörvar wants the game to end. But yeah, this will definitely be an interesting move. Let's see a bit. This is going to be very hard to win with the exposed king. So see a bit with black trying to get the upset, slight upset against Pierre Laurent Poli. King a2. Now we can maybe play queen f5. I like queen f5 here. Well, we actually don't need to pin the rook anymore, so other moves might work as well, but I just want to try and get this pawn. Isn't that possible? The only thing is we have to watch out for the back rank. Okay, he plays queen f5. Now if king b1, now we take. And now we're making progress. However, what happens if I take now? I can maybe even play it like this. Just take on g5. Unfortunately, we're not back rank mated because of this thorn pawn taking away the entry square, flight square. But we do have this. which has to be winning, although there are technical difficulties. White probably has to take or play queen h3 to protect the pawn, because otherwise we make this check and take the pawn. Maybe that's a safe way to do things, just queen f5 and take this. Eric, did you find knight f3? You did. He found this. Knight f3, king h1, c2. And I'm sure after rook c3 he will find rook to d6. Eric getting his rating back up, 2359. I think he was down in the low 2300s. Same thing as I did. I was up to as high as 2398, but I have been very stable, like 2340, 2370 for like a decade. But recently I've lost on rating, so like 2320, 2312. Timestamp for Gukesh. Let's see, 20. We got 26 minutes back. No, not that long. 21. Yeah, when did I tweet? I tweeted 29 minutes ago. No, 30 minutes ago, okay. And then, let's see. So I tweeted 30 minutes ago, so probably like 35, 34 minutes ago. Wow. Yeah, that's kind of heartbreaking. Yeah, I'm watching it off stream actually now. Yeah, when you realize it's just wow. Like somebody said in chat, it's awkward for Prague to see a person in front of him basically dying inside. I'm watching back when he blundered. So not on the stream, but yeah, he just resent. Ja. That's even also think. Yeah, Eric found this idea, rook d6, and he should win this relatively easily. And I can tell you that, well, Sukandar is winning here. The bishop is running out of space on this diagonal. If bishop f8, king here. In fact, we can actually take this. And then Kiev check on f5. So it's completely winning, like this. So black, Arten Bosboom, actually has no relation to Manuel Bosboom. I actually asked him about it. But he was one of the guys that won the pub quiz. So yeah, I think this has happened on the board. And The king is on d5 because they are set on d5 and e4. Picture time. Okay, so yeah, Eric is winning. Erin Sukandar already won. But can Hjörvar join them? After Queen f5, he just might. But again, yeah, the importance of this game is paling in significance to what it meant earlier. Did king takes d5 happen? In Sukandar? That would be funny. Oops, wrong game. Where is it? Here. King d5. Knight f5 check. Was answered by king d5 check. That was obviously not. I'm gonna let the fix. Sukandar for 30. Okay, that should be fixed. And Rosen placed 91, followed by Rook d1 probably. So that game should be over any second. Perhaps minute, but wow, b4. That's ambitious. Now we can start grabbing stuff. Queen takes d5. God lift us up where we belong. Yeah. So what happens after this? Rook f1. Counterplay. Counterplaying is f7. Maybe it's queen e7. Simplest move, but we want to take this pawn. Are we too greedy if you go like rook f8 intending to take this? Probably. Definitely, maybe. Queen e7 is, I guess, the sensible move. Christopher Wu has turned this game around. After knight f4, now it's threatening queen f1. It's actually threatening more than queen h1. He's threatening rook h1. So, just to make a black move. Yeah, the king has to start running actually. That doesn't look good. This, of course, walks into maiden 2. So you. There's a guy named Wu, Ingvar Wu, so I keep saying Wu when I'm supposed to say you. You. And also you is an Icelandic word. Are you going? You. Which means yes. So Yao and you both mean yes, but are used differently. Which makes no sense. Why do we need 2 words for yes? Yes sir, Bob. Of Yes. And then we have the word jæja, which means everything basically. So like, shall we go? Jæja. Or you're annoying me. Jæja. Or, well, plenty of other things. Jæja, let's keep going. Like, well, jæja, well. It's a very versatile word. What's the word? Síki, sko. Yeah, I think you're back on the right track. I'm hoping at least. As we see the playing hall, not many games left. Zero takes on g5. Yes. Rook f1 played by Jarmula. Pressure on f7. And Hjörvar goes for the sensible move, queen e7. I guess king b3 now by Jarmula. Keeping control of the pawn. This may still be hard to win. This may still be hard to win, actually. I guess at some stage, king h8, f5, something like that. Maybe a king f8. Hard to say, but he plays queen d7, which at least stops the advance of the b pawn. Maybe he wants to play rook a8. Go for mate, and if b5, then queen on the diagonal, maybe. Queen e7, queen b4, queen e6 check. Let's say it's black to move. How do we do nothing with white? Let's lose the tempo here on purpose. Go here. Oh, I know it's hanging. I'm just trying to make a position here and here. So same position. If it's black to move, can we play rook a8 here? Threatening mate. This may be rook a2, but I was thinking b5 is risky. And we're probably going to go both queen here or queen to the diagonal. Looks, yeah, very risky. Whoa, Harry Grief. This in a world of hurt. This is incoming. This is threatened. What to do? Just gonna lose it. It's gonna be f3, queen takes h3, resigns. Basically, more or less. Can you win the queen somehow? If f3, king f2, rook d2, knight takes, queen takes, king e3. Queen G1, Queen F2, very close to winning the queen. But I don't see the killing blow. The death blow. Queen C1, Queen back, no. Oh, yeah. But okay, F3, he will take on H3 and should be completely winning. The national dish in Iceland. It's probably just pulsa, you know. A hot dog. I don't know. Yeah, it's lamb. But I don't like lamb. But I love the lamb in tapas barin. The licorice lamb. It's epic. Gotta try it. So come to Reykjavik, go to tapas, ask for the licorice lamb. It's number 23 on the menu. The Jordan number, the gold number. Not difficult to remember. So go to tapas and order the Jordan number. Number 23. So rook takes T2 and there's mate on H3 if you take, so this should be GG. GG-o. Good win by Christopher Yu. Queen D7, and white is thinking still in the Jarmula game. I think Jaroslav would have been an excellent first name. Jaroslav Jarmula. Jaroslav Jarmula. But Lucas, okay. That works as well. GGO. And number 23 it is, yes sir. Now he takes on C3. Is that the best course of action? I don't think it is. Oh, is he finally cracking? I think he's finally cracking. We can play Rook C8 and Queen T3 check is very annoying. I think Hjörvar is finally winning. Jarmola should have waited, but cracked under the pressure. So Hjörvar will get joint second place, along with Mats Andersen, Max Varmerdam, Abhimanyu Mishra, and somebody else? No. They're going to share place 2 to 5, and then we have bunch of guys that will reach 6.5, and they will have to count on good tie breaks. Surely Hjörvar will find Rook C8. Yep, he plays it. And I think when this one finishes, I think we'll call it a tournament. And yeah, congratulations to Pragnananda, who, well, he's probably the youngest sole winner of the tournament of all time. But Alireza Firouzja in 2019, he was the joint winner with Luperescu. Did anybody make a norm? Probably not. But the arbiters know that, and we'll find out before the closing ceremony. And I'm sure that the ones who did are aware of that. You can actually check the rating performance of people. Rating International. So I want to check. Yeah, rating performance. 20. Let's find the first IM. Vladislav Larkin, no, 24.38. That's not enough. I think it's also an IM. So Brandon Clark, 24.90. Kasakorli, no. Sarkar, no. Tanya, no. Hilmer, no. Itani Puya, yes, if he wasn't in the gym. Jarmula is performing at 2700. It does not look like we have norms. Simon got an IM norm. Harry Grieve, no. No, I don't see anybody making a norm here. Which is not something that happens often, actually. Yeah, Queen c4 now, and this pawn can't be protected because you lose protection of the rook, and the queen is importantly still protecting this. So king a3. Now a very nasty move would be e4, intending to move the queen away from the third rank. And I should just play queen c3 check, and here he finds it. So this should be the end of this one. So we'll wait for the official confirmation. This is one of very few games that's still left in the playing hall. Eric Rosen must have finished by now. Is he still playing? I think you can just take on c1 and shop a piece. Still waiting for official word on Jarmula and Gretarsson. Disappointing end to the tournament for Jarmula, who now resigns. And yeah, here's some applause in the commentary room as Hjörvar secures a joint second place. So I think we're gonna wrap things up. The things that are clear. Pragnanand is the winner, the sole winner of the tournament, after a very shocking turn of events in the last round, where he had a completely lost position against Gukesh, but managed to turn it around. And so he's the winner. And joint second place, Max Vermedam, Mats Andersen, Abhimanyu Mishra, and Hjörvar Steinn Gretarsson. And then it looks like the tiebreak winners for the top 10 prizes are Alexander Fier, Abhijit Gupta, Hans Niemann, Vladislav Larkin, and Sebastian Masse, although he's has the same tiebreak as Kasakorli, it seems. So those probably make it. Yeah, those make it. So yeah, has been a fun event. Very, very exciting final round. and anything could have happened basically, and it did. But thank you for tuning in for the last few days, and hopefully this has inspired you to visit Iceland next year and come to the Reykjavik Open, and hope to see you there, and especially at the pub quiz. So see you next year. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
The purest tasting water on earth, born from untouched lands, naturally filtered through ancient lava rock. You are what you drink. Be a force of nature. Icelandic glacial. The purest tasting water on earth, born from untouched lands, naturally filtered through ancient lava rock. You are what you drink. Be a force of nature. Icelandic glacial. The purest tasting water on earth, born from untouched lands, naturally filtered through ancient lava rock. You are what you drink. Be a force of nature.